This is episode 2 in our January series. Is this the year that you start traveling full-time? And today, I want to bust the 3 biggest myths that keep smart, capable people from even beginning to explore the life they secretly, or not so secretly, want to start. Welcome to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. I'm your host, Heather Markell. If you're dreaming of full-time travel or moving abroad, but stuck at the emotional, financial, and logistical challenges, this podcast is for you. I'll help you trade overwhelm for information that gets you from down and stuck to up and going. You can dream about the travel lifestyle, or you can live the travel lifestyle. If you're ready to live it, then let's jump in together. Welcome back. If you haven't listened to last week's episode yet, you may want to take a listen before this one, since this is designed to be a 4-part motivational series. And it's kind of good to do it in order. Last week we got into some of the great questions that you might want to ask yourself as a first step in this series. But if you're ready for week 2, let's jump in. In today's episode, I'm going to focus on 3 of the biggest assumptions people make that keep them stuck in fear and unable to take even one step forward towards that travel lifestyle they're dreaming about. So here we go. Myth number 1, you have to quit your job. Look, some of us do quit our jobs, but it is not necessary. And I see this in 2 parts. So the first part is you actually don't ever have to quit at all. You could get a remote job. You maybe have one already. You might be able to create work opportunities that follow you so you're working while you travel. You might even be able to turn your exact current job into a remote one, or even take a sabbatical. There's so many different options right now that allow you to travel full-time without quitting. So just know that quitting is not required. The second thing is, if you are planning to quit, I would not physically do it until you have a plan, a budget, and have tested out the travel lifestyle. You don't have to leap without a safety net. In fact, it was because I had created a huge safety net that I eventually felt more empowered to quit when I did. Now, in terms of testing the travel lifestyle, which I would recommend whether you are planning to quit or keep your job and travel, one way to do it that's very easy is that I would recommend taking a longer vacation than you ever have before. So if you're lucky enough to have 4 weeks vacation or more a year, take them all at once. It's usually after the 2-week mark of travel that you really get into some of those real ups and downs of the lifestyle. So this way, if you hate the experience after a month, it's better to find out while you still have your job. And if you love the experience, then you're just that much more inspired to figure out how to make the lifestyle happen for you. Myth number 2, you need a ton of money. Okay, this is bullshit, quite candidly. This is the big one that kept me from going for such a long time. I think the belief comes from comparing vacation travel to full-time travel. I've said it before, but full-time travel is not a vacation. On vacation, you usually take a week, maybe 2 if you're lucky. And the very act of vacation is an escape from the grind. And obviously, when you do it, you want to relax, you want to pamper yourself, you want certain experiences, you probably book a really nice hotel, maybe even luxury grade, you eat out every meal, you shop till you drop, carry a giant suitcase which you fill up, You do a tour every day, and it's easy to spend thousands of dollars in that very short time frame. So if you assume that you're going to travel full-time, the way you vacation, not only is that wrong, but yeah, you would need a lot of money to do that. But trust me when I tell you that even if you think you'd want to do that, like a vacation lifestyle, as your full-time travel, it's just not sustainable financially or emotionally. The travel lifestyle is about finding fascination in the mundane of a new place. You're living there, you're not vacationing, so your expenses are just so much lower than they are on vacation. Plus, once you learn the tons of ways to save money on full-time travel, if you're using the right strategies, it's often cheaper to travel full-time than your current monthly expenses when you're living in a fixed location with a job. I know, it shocked me as well. So, you don't need a ton of money. You do need to travel within your means. And obviously that will vary by person, by how long you're traveling full-time, and more. Myth number 3. You have to know exactly what you want first. In truth, clarity comes from the process, not before it. When I started traveling full-time, I didn't have it all figured out. I just followed the next step that felt like freedom. I didn't plan out a year of travel. I figured I'd be traveling about 6 months, and I didn't plan every moment of those 6 months before I started. I chose a destination, planned the first couple of weeks, and then let plans fall into place. Plans I had made got changed, and I changed other plans as I went. I do think it's great to know what you want from your experience. Things like, are you looking for relaxation, self-discovery, world discovery? Maybe you want very specific experiences. Maybe you want to taste specific foods or learn how to cook, right? These things will help center you. But you absolutely do not need to have figured out every detail before you go. That would drive anyone crazy. Yes, you do need to do some planning. But no, you don't have to figure it all out this week. And you don't need every detail of every moment of your travels planned in advance. So, those are the three of the biggest myths people have about why they can't start the travel lifestyle busted. If you've been holding back on getting started because of one of these beliefs or more, I hope this episode clears something for you to take a nice deep breath and let go of those beliefs. If you're curious about an ideal first step to take, my quiz can help you. It gives you a beautiful starting point to explore your own travel style and freedom values based on your specific results. You can take the quiz at heatherbegins.com/freedom travel style quiz with dashes between the freedom travel style and quiz. So I will put a link in the show description so you can just click it and get there. And I will see you next week for a practical episode on how to actually start planning your travel life without blowing up the life that you have now. See you then. Thanks so much for listening to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. If you loved it, please leave a review and let us know. Make sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes. Check out the show notes for important resources related to this episode, and come visit us at travellifestylecoach.com to learn more great information. If you're ready to get started with the lifestyle, go to moneyfortravelbootcamp.com, where you can learn all the strategies to afford this amazing lifestyle. Talk to you next week.